Yo, boys, FaZe Doritos here. I saw Supatees release a 11.10 Affliction Warlock guide, and I was like, dude, this guy doesn't know anything that he's talking about. So I decided to make my own guide. I was like, bro, I've been sitting here doing nothing. It's time to make a guide. So let's get straight into it. Yo, guys, wanted to quickly show my EXP this season. This season, I'm currently the highest rated Warlock on the ladder at 2471, 2167 in threes. I have like 4 characters. They're all around 2100 right now. So just want to show you guys my current experience in the season. And now I'm going to go straight into the build guide. So let's go straight to the build. I'll show you guys the talents. Talents are pretty much the same. You guys can take a screenshot here. And on the right side, the only talent you're changing depending on matchup if they kill your pet is Summoner's Embrace or Grimoire Sacrifice. Sacrifice if they're killing your pet. Summoner's Embrace if they're not killing your pet, so you can do a little bit more damage. Let's go to the left side. The left side, Amplify Curse is going to be the thing you're going to be dropping depending on if you're fighting a Shaman, Mage, Druid. Those are the big 3 classes that could dispel your dots, your curses. So into those, you don't want to play Amplify Curse. Into, like, let's say you fight a priest, hunter, warrior, or something like that, you know what I mean, like a KFC without any decurse, you could play Amplify. Otherwise, you drop this and you play Shadow Fury, or you could pick up Soul Conduit if you play with a rogue. Okay, so that's pretty much all there. Now we're going to go into PvP talents. Bloodstones, you never take this. This is a bait. Impish Instincts into heavy melee stuff, like you're fighting a warrior, you're fighting a feral druid, you're fighting all these things, like a lot of melee. Now, if you're fighting like a lot of casters and stuff, you play Nether Ward, and that's pretty much it. You don't really take anything else. Rotten Decay is locked in, Jinx is locked in. Now I'm going to show you guys the rotation on how to do damage as Affliction. The most important thing is keeping up your UA. The second most important thing is pressing your Shadow Bolts as you get procs. And when you burst, you want to press your Soul Rot, your Phantom Singularity, your Haunt into Dark Lair, and make sure you have dots on everything else. And then you want to press your Raptures. You want to get your Raptures out. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And then you press your bolts off CD, and then you press Shadow Bolt to do damage when you don't have any Rapture procs. Succulent Soul procs are really good when you can AoE cleave. So like you see, I have 2 dots, 3 targets dotted, and they're in my line, which makes Rapture a really good press. If it's a single target and you're only hitting one guy, you want to focus on getting Shadow Bolts over Rapture. And let me get you guys straight into the VOD review portion of the video so I can show you guys what you need to be doing into stuff that kills you, like warriors, like feral druids, like anything annoying, like Windwalker, monk, all that stuff. Let's get straight. We're fighting a Windwalker, a Ret, and a priest here, and I wanted to show you guys, and I have a warrior on my team, so it's no double caster versus double melee kind of situation. It's a melee caster versus a double melee, which is like the most cancer matchup that you can have as a warlock going into like some like solo shuffle lobbies, right? Luckily, I get matched up with Absurge on priest, which is a really good healer. So this matchup was like a lot easier than it would have been if the healer was not so good. But let's get straight into this. At the start of the game, I put my port out here because monks use ROP, which will knock me back into the room and put me in a really bad position where my healer gets put into a bad spot, and then he can get CC'd, get swapped to, etc., which isn't good. We don't want that. So we put our port here in our gateway to the cart. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And now I instantly move away from my port. I move into the same direction as my priest, which is not ideal because he could sweep me, but it's still not bad because I could just port before the sweep happens, right? And then I'm separated from my priest. My cat is trying to be on my monitor. I'm sorry about that, guys. So this is what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this way. I amp curse this guy. I play amp curse. This is one of those matchups like I talked about earlier where you can play amp curse because there is no dispel. So I play amp curse and crit, anti-crit this guy, which is going to prevent him from doing a lot more damage than he could be doing with wings. So that's good. I get UA. I start, this is what I was talking about earlier in the rotational part of the video. I get Soul Rot into Phantom Singularity. I'm already queuing it up here, as you can see. And then the next global is going to be get dots on everything, and then Dark Lair. So I'm going to get every dot on everybody, and then I'm going to Dark Lair probably around here. So I'm waiting. I swap my UA, which is something I talked about earlier. Sometimes you don't swap your UA. Here I did swap it because it's my biggest burst, and I'd like to have it the most efficient way. So here we go. We get sweeped. Nothing's been popped yet. There we go. Boom. He's popped his spirits, which is really sketchy. So what you want to do now is like either CC this guy after I get cooldowns. So let's see what I do here. I coil him. He gets dispelled. and then I'm just applying damage. I start CCing him after I get grip there, which is what you should be doing. You should be thinking about CCing the monk on his cooldowns and swapping as much as you can. That's how you're going to be able to win these lobbies. These lobbies are really hard because double melee just completely crush you as a warlock. And not to mention, if you're not juking kicks, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Also, guys, for people that didn't know, this is Omni Auras. This thing that you see here, you'll see like an overlapping debuff or whatever, a buff. This intercept, I mean, means that you cannot be kicked by physical kicks. So Rebuke and I don't know what this is called, Spear Hand or something, the monk kick, they don't work on you. They don't work on you when you have this on. So that's just one thing to think about as well. So we get PS here, which is probably going to be followed me swapping. There we go. You see how I swap? This is what you guys should be doing. You see one guy who has PS and you just hit the other guy. That's what you should be doing. Like, you send your damage on the other guy who doesn't have the damage reduction. So this is what I do instantly. Also, you'll see that I have UA. Sorry, I have a debuff there. You see I have UA on the paladin, but I'm not hitting him. This is something you guys can do as well. I was talking about this in the rotational part of the video, where you can just tab target and not swap your UA, because it's way too much work to just spam swap it. So there we go. There's the clones again. So I instantly poured on the clones, or spirits, however you guys want to call it. And then I'm haunting him. He doesn't have UA, but look how much damage he's taking. We got wall there and we got karma. That's huge. That's huge. I was thinking about that later in the game. Like later in the game, you want to think about these things. Like this guy doesn't have karma. He doesn't have wall, so you could die later, right? He still has trinket, but it doesn't matter. As long as he's out of range of support, he could still die. And we got bubble. This is a really good sign for us. Like later on, that this paladin can die, this monk can die. We're just, you know, getting a lot of CDs out of these people. The only things we have to worry about now are swap from the priest and like spell ward from the ret, because they have spell ward now. So he tried to rep, but he couldn't. He repped the warrior, which is kind of interesting. I'm not sure why he did that. I slowed this guy so he can't get the fear because I see him walking in. So I slowed, but he still gets there, unfortunately. So he gets there and then he fades off the slow. He gets the fear, but it's fine because I have pact and port. So I could just kite this monk and this paladin a little bit more. So first I try to get them away from my port. I try to juke kick so I can fear again. And that's pretty much all I'm doing, just trying to kite. So we get wall out of the paladin, and that means I'm going to swap. As you see, I swapped the monk. I swapped the monk, and now it's soul rot time. So I get the haunt out, I get full dots. I'm trying to get the UA, can't get it. He gets to dispel my soul rot, that's unfortunate, but I still have the phantom. So there we go, I fake a kick, and now I'm pressing raptures. Getting raptures off, getting raptures off. No gate for 12 seconds. So that's something you guys want to think about, like what do you have in your toolkit to kite? This warrior's doing a really good job just completely destroying these people right now. I port as the monk uses his like mobility to try to get to me. He tries to roll to me there. Doesn't get on top of me. There he goes, his second roll. I have gate coming up in like 2, so I'm just sitting on my gate. A gate there. We overlapped PS and wall, but honestly, it's understandable with how low I was getting. It's a really sketchy situation, and it happens, you know. It happens. You don't want to like think too much about it. He conduits. I've never seen this happen before, where conduit isn't immune to CC in that moment. It must have been since it was like the same global, but it wasn't immuning his CC, so I got really lucky with this coil. The paladin gets swapped. Okay, now they officially have no CDs. They have nothing. They can die very soon. We still have swap. He swaps. He has PI, power infusion, if you guys don't know, which is going to be like a big burst cooldown that I'm going to be using with my dark lair in 15 seconds. So he PIs me instantly here. I'm going to have dark lair to pair this with in 10 seconds, which is going to be crazy. The pop is just going to be immaculate. They pulled a ret behind the pillar. I think the ret gets topped off, but as you guys can see, look, I'm doing it again with my damage. I don't reapply the UA on this guy who stayed behind. I just press haunt to get the most value and the most damage in that global. And there we go. He runs away because he sees he has karma in 2. So that's what you guys want to be doing. So the first thing that you guys want to be thinking about is your portal. You want to get range from your port, use your port off cooldown. The second thing you want to be doing is pressing your haunt off CD and making sure that if you're fighting a melee lobby, you're getting kicks, and within your precog windows, you want to be pressing fear. You want to be pressing fear. You want to get people on DR for fear so you can live better and your healer can better heal you. You want to just slow the game down. Sorry. You want to slow the game down as much as you can and make sure that you're getting your haunts off CD so you can get as many cooldowns as you can. And that's pretty much the most important things that I can tell you guys to do in these lobbies. And now this monk has karma again, so I'm not really thinking about killing him unless it's in a stun. And this paladin, he has nothing. He literally has 0 CDs except wall. So he's probably the best target to die here. He's probably the best target to die, but the monk can also die, so that's pretty good to know. It's good information. I think I quill, and we just kill this paladin. Yeah, the paladin dies in a haunt. So you see, that's what you guys need to be thinking about, delaying the game, because eventually you can win. Otherwise, you'll just lose. You'll just lose. If you try to, like, you know, force things, if you try to do damage in your precog windows instead of CCing, you're just going to be completely destroyed here. So make sure that, you know, you squeeze your ass as much as you can. Just squeeze your butthole. Squeeze your butthole as tight as you possibly can. You don't want these guys getting in there. You don't want them in there. All right, so let's get into the next lobby here, the next round. Now we're fighting a Ret Warrior and a Priest. I know it sounds kind of sussy what I just said, but honestly, bro, that's what you got to be thinking about when you're fighting this stuff. It's really sketch, you know? There's the Hodge. Also, guys, for the newer players and the low-rated players, make sure you're paying attention to when your healer's in and out of CC so that you know when you need to port and you know when you shouldn't port. Like, when the game starts, I throw my gate, my portal out the room just so I don't get cucked in the starter room, right? And I know from playing into a lot of Ret Paladins, how they like to start a game is they'll go for Hodges on my healer or Stormbolt on the healer into like a Fear or whatever, you know? So let's see what they do here. So I get charged on, I don't port, and I try to get UAs. So I get my UAs, I get my damage, I focus on my damage. And look, here's the Hodge and here's the Fear coming. I port because he's in CC, and now I'm just kiting. I'm kiting in the direction of my gateway so I can use my gateway as this warrior connects to me. So I'm trying to get my soul rod off. I fake a kick. I get my soul rod and my haunt and my damage is going. I still have dark glare. I haven't used it yet. I don't know why I haven't used it. There we go. Now we dark glare, have the most damage going off, and I think I'm gonna swap this warrior or either get his thing. It's good to try to fear warriors because you'll get his rage and then he won't be able to get out of a fear later. So you want to try doing that so you can just peel for yourself later. So here we go. I'm getting some damage off. I'm pressing Shadow Bolt, trying to get some like single target pressure because the other guy had wall up. So here we go. Now I'm pressing Shadow Bolts again with the proc and Rapture spamming so I can get those 20% damage Raptures going. There we go, doing damage, trying to press Fear. Fearing the warrior now. He doesn't have rage, but it breaks because he's fully dotted. We get a Fear. Also, guys, when you're playing a comp like Windwalker, Lock, and stuff like that, and you're fighting a paladin, you should be thinking about getting CC on the healer as well, because he has like I forgot this is Sank. He has Sank, and every time that he sanks your CC, the next CC cannot be immune. So that means you can get a full Fear, and you can potentially get cooldowns on the DPS, which is huge. So you should be thinking about that. So I'm just trying to do damage and use my port off CD. Always want to be thinking like that. Get range from your port, do damage, press your port off CD into a warrior. You're just trying to kite to get these stacks off. Like ideally, you get these healing reduction stacks off, and you can just help your healer out a lot. So that's what you want to be thinking about. Mainly just getting this warrior off of you. Get this warrior off of you so you can play the game. Otherwise, you're just going to get completely face melted, and it's going to be so miserable. It's going to be so miserable. By the way, guys, this is like a blind review, and I just wanted to show you guys like my experience into these lobbies. You can win. Most of the time, you're going to end up, like if you play really well, chances are you're going 3-3. Like I died here, chances are I'm going 3-3 into this lobby. But it's fine. Like, you want to go even. You want to go even. You don't want to lose points fighting into this stuff. Ideally, you don't want to lose points, right? So if you can scrape out a 4-2, that's crazy. If you can't, it's perfectly fine. It's totally understandable. You'll have a chance to have a better lobby next time. So just try your best to just survive and delay the game as much as you can, because the later the game goes, the higher the probability you win. So remember your fundamentals. Remember getting away from your port. Remember, don't port unless your healer's in CC, or if you have like crazy healing reduction stacks. Those are like baseline things until warriors. So now, instead, the reasoning behind this is because on this side of the map, you're further away from this box. So I throw my gate to this tombstone instead. That's why I throw it there. So then, here we go. Reversing a monk. Monk is going to be infinitely more scary than Ret, but monk doesn't have like an out for CC for his healer, which is better for us. So we can have a higher probability to killing them in CC without them like getting out of it, which is good for us. So I'm just like pulling this guy away, keeping slow up, just running away, trying to get my damage going while running. And I get UA and get Phantom Singularity out. Trying to get my damage off. I have to juke a kick. I get my Soul Rot. That's huge, which means I can Dark Lair pretty soon. Very sketch. He had to use swap there. When you're super low, guys, don't press your wall. Don't press your wall. I know it's scary, but ideally you have lay, you have swap. You want them to use it. You want them to use it. You don't want a wall. If you're already that low, you do not want to press it because you're just going to overlap everything. So just be like, fuck it, it's over. You know, if they don't swap, it's over. That's how you should think about it. So I pull these guys away. I'm constantly running. You see that? I'm constantly juking and constantly trying to run away and pull them off of me. I know, guys, it's going to be infinitely more difficult to get fears when you're playing into a monk. So, you know, just try your best to run away and get damage off. If you can get a fear, that's what you want. You want to get those fears off. But if you can't get it, it's totally understandable. Totally understandable. Here I get sacked. I have sack and I have bop and I have PS. So I have so many defenses on me right now. So I can't use my wall here. But the next time I get low, it's going to be my wall. That's how that's going to go. Really sketch. I use Pact here. They instantly shred through it. I pour. I'm probably shitting my pants right now. Honestly, I'm probably shitting my pants. So I'm just constantly running. As you can see on the left side, I'm tracking Warrior's leap. I'm tracking his charge. I'm trying to check his mobility so I can utilize that information. Here's Warrior's avatar. It's just a proc though. We get Karm. So now this monk can die. Warrior can't die, but monk can die because he doesn't have diffuse or karma, which is huge for us. And we get a Hodge on this healer. I think he reps the healer off, which is really good for us. Not 100% sure. Nope, he doesn't get, but he gets an MC. Monk is dying behind a pillar. He has to swap. You see that? We're doing good. We got past the hardest part of the match. That's what you guys want to do. Get past the hardest part of the match, which is the opener. Survive the opener at all costs while using the least amount of CDs, by kiting, by fearing, doing whatever you can to survive in the opener. Eventually, you'll come back, you'll turn it around, you'll get your damage off eventually in the game. So just remember it like that. And also, these indicators are massive for me, where I can see what these guys are doing, because this guy is currently having spirits up in 2 seconds, or clones, however you guys want to think about it. So you just want to think about when these clones are coming up. So here we go, trying to get damage off on this warrior, trying to get damage on this monk. I get ropped out of my dome, and I get a kick here. Everybody's on DR, so I can't fear. I quell the warrior. Now we get rage on the warrior. Now the warrior's a good target. Healer has nothing too, so warrior can die. Monk can die, warrior can die. There we go, doing damage. I had a really nice grip from Absurge. Really nice. I'm getting these raptures off, just doing as much damage as I can. Also, guys, if you have any questions, don't be afraid to put them in the comment section down below. I will be trying to get to your questions as quickly as I can. So I port, I try to pull away. The reason why I'm not talking about this game as much anymore is because we're fighting into double melee, and it's pretty much the same thing. Every round is pretty much going to be the same thing. I poured off CDs, and I'm trying to just kite this warrior with a slow buff on him as much as I can, and using fear as much as I can to survive. There we go. I think the next port we win. Like the next port, I pull this guy away, and it's just over. Or we just win right now. There you go. See? This is how you win. I know a lot of people, they're always talking about, oh, I can't get a win into these lobbies that are like triple melee. These Windwalker lobbies are going to become your new best friend and your new worst nightmare, where you just cannot win. They're just every lobby plaguing you. It's very true, but it's also very wrong that you can't win. You can win, it's just very hard, all right? Very hard, but you can win. You just got to stay optimistic. You gotta have a fresh mental every time you go into this. Never queue when you're tilted. It's not good. So here we go. We have another Windwalker Priest lobby into a Ret Warrior Priest. Let's see what we do here. Remember, when you're fighting a Ret, he can use Sank when you fear your healer or fear the enemy healer, so he can get his healer out of a fear. Warriors can as well, so they have 2 fear breaks, which means fearing healer is really bad because you can rarely get it. But if you do get it, if you do manage to have a full fear and get a trinket, it's massive. So let's see what we do here. The warrior ports in and uses fear. This is really good for us. When a warrior uses leap in the opener like that, it's insanely good. Because now it's easier to kite the warrior. The only thing you have to worry about is his 2 charges, and then he can't get to you. So ideally I gate, and if I use my quell properly, I can distance from the warrior to get 2 charges, and then I can port back later and he just can't touch me. So I gate here, warrior charges again. There's one of, he actually already used 2 charges. So warrior cannot get to me after I quell him. It was actually really unfortunate that I quelled the ret, because if I quelled the warrior wouldn't get to me. But he did manage to grip me here, so now the warrior can't get to me, and for 5 seconds he just cannot touch me. So that's really good. Warrior can touch me now. See that? Boom. Now I port, and I'm just ahead. I'm literally ahead. The warrior still cannot connect to me. Unless he gets to me like this. But before, he literally couldn't get to me. Now we get Rop, which is really good. Warrior has a charge in 5 seconds. So we're worried about the warrior's charge, and he has leap again. So now he can leap to me. See what happens here. I wall. Not ideal. I'd prefer to not have to wall here, but it is what it is, guys. Sometimes you just have to press. It's very sketchy. So there we go. Juking kicks, trying to get damage going. And I'm hitting this ret who has no wall. There's intervene. So this warrior has no rage, so we can kill warrior. We can also kill this ret, but mainly warriors. He kill target here. He has nothing. Let's see what we do here. Get gripped again, just kiting. I'm probably shitting my pants right here, I'm not gonna lie. Just perma-dead. Very stressful. Finally get a fear in the warrior. Big damage on the right here. Just getting these fears in this warrior, keeping them off of me, trying to peel at port. Now this warrior doesn't have anything for 2 seconds to connect, which is huge. And I have a gateway very soon. But I die. It is what it is. I could have lived there in 2 more seconds. And Heldstone just came back up. It's unfortunate, but that's just how the cookie crumbles, guys. So in this lobby, it's not like the best lobby, but it is a really good tall tale that you guys can just see what you can do better from what I'm doing to make your games a lot smoother. And yeah. So let's skip. Let's skip and see what happens. Again, we're fighting the ret. So the ret can use Sank to get his healer out of CC. But there's no warrior, so there's no double fear break or whatever. Our warrior's just doing the most ridiculous damage here. He gets wall from the paladin, so we swap the monk, I think. Yeah, there we go. We swapped the monk a bit. But we're still hitting the paladin. Like, honestly, if the wall expires and you still have a lot of damage going on paladin, you can just keep hitting paladin and try to get more. We ended up getting PS and lay, so the paladin can die. Like, very easy to kill the paladin now. The only thing he has left is bubble, and then the warrior can literally just kill him, which is really good for us. There we go. We get bubble and PS. Okay, the game is pretty much in our hands now. We got bubble. We got 2 charges of PS. We got lay of hands. We got wall. This guy is literally dead. He couldn't be more dead, right? So the only thing I have to do is live for about like a minute longer, and this game is just free. So try to get fears on this monk here. We get swapped. The game is literally over. It's literally over. Any CC we get, the game is just over. Nice, he grips me. I get a quell going. Get some damage off on this guy, and he's dead. There you go. So I got a 3-3 there, and as you can see, I have crazy MMR from last season, which is kind of unfortunate for you guys that are down there just trying to get like a fresh game. I understand that like the no rating refresh was kind of frustrating for a lot of you guys because, you know, people at the top just automatically go back to the top. But yeah, that's pretty much how it feels to be in a really high MMR lobby and to fight triple melee. You can still get out 3-3. Even if the people you're fighting are like a lot better, you could still get out of this like 3-3. You can't, like, as you can see, like the previous lobby was super close. Like I could have went 4-2. I could have went 4-2 if I won the previous round. I had Heldstone. I had Gateway coming up in 2 seconds where it had no way to get to me. I would have been able to live a little bit longer into that. So there was a chance I would have been 4-2. So that's something you guys can like look back in these games and you can think about, and it can make you a whole lot better of a player. Also, another thing before I leave, I just want to tell you guys how important having notifiers everywhere on your screen. Like, I understand that there's a lot of information here, and for a newer player, it's probably very overwhelming to see like all these notifications on what's going on. Like here I have kicks, here I have CC, here I have mobility, here I have my damage CDs like on the screen, then I have like a diminish, and then I have an omni CD to track my parties buttons. Like, it's so much stuff, I understand. But what you want to do, guys, is you want to try your best. Start small, get like omni CD, get an omni bar set up with kicks and CCs, and then you want to get like a diminish to see the trackers for your healer and stuff. Besides that, you don't really need all this, but you know, if you could get all of it, it's good. If you can't, it's totally understandable. But yeah, I just wanted to go over some of these rounds to show you guys what was going on in my lobbies and what's going on in my head, so you guys can play those games out and feel a lot better about yourself on the Affliction Warlock. Anyways, guys, I stream at TTV Phase Doritos. If you guys want to catch me, sometimes I'm streaming in the afternoon around 4 p.m. EST. Sometimes I'm streaming late around like 11 p.m. EST. So if you guys are around and you want to drop by and drop a sub, or you know, drop a follow, you guys can check out my gameplay there. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys around.